Hello ladies and gentlemen, here we are ready to explore the Magic the Gathering top 10 cats. With cats being released almost at every set and series, which ones are going to be in the top 10? And yes, it is accounted for what the abilities can do and how they can be played. So let's begin with the top 10. And at number 10 we have Long Tusk Cub, and it's from the series Kaladesh, and it's an uncommon. The reason why it's here, because if you look at the text, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get 2 energy counters. Pay 2 energy, you get a +1/+1 counter. So basically you can pump it every turn. It's 2 for a 2/2. You can keep pumping it every turn if you're able to do some damage. Also, I like the saying, it won't be small forever. And that's the reason why it's at number 10, is because of the pumping ability. So let's move on to number 9, which we have Frost Lynx. It's an elemental cat from Core 2020, and it's common. And its ability is, when it comes to the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its next untap phase. It's more of an annoyance, I say, than making the cat very strong. That's why it's at number 9. And it costs 3 for a 2/2, which is not too bad, but at 3 mana I feel like you want to be doing something else. But because of its ability, that could hinder against, like, I guess, a red deck. So let's move on to number 8. And then at number 8 we have Loamline. It's from the Dual Decks Ajani versus Nicola Bolas series, and it's an uncommon. And it's at number 8 because it costs 1 for a 1/1, which is pretty standard, but it gets +1/+2 as long as you control a forest. So if you put on about a forest second turn, you have a 2/3 right away. 2/3 second turn, and you have a forest, which you can pump it up with like a giant growth or something. So I feel like that's why it's on the top 10 list, is because of that ability. I like it most of them, and it really gives it a good boost second turn. So let's move on to number 7. And at number 7 we have Fleece, Maine, Lion. It's a cat, obviously. And as long as Fleece, Maine, Lion is monsters, it has hexproof and indestructible. It's very good. I really like the card. It was between that and Bronzehide Lion, which I was really tempted to do as this number. So it costs 2 for a 3/3. So that alone is pretty good on itself. So you can give it hexproof as well and indestructible. I thought that's a decent card regardless of being a cat or not. No, the picture is pretty cool. So anyway, let's move on to number 6, which we have Giselle Goldmane. It's a legendary creature from the Commander 2017 series, and it's a mythic rare. Costs 4 for a 4/4. Say that 3 times fast. And it has first strike, so that's pretty good. And it costs 5 attacking creature control. Get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures, which is really good. Again, it's a legendary creature, so you can only have 1 out, which is not too bad. But 4/4 for first strike, I think, is very good just on itself, and that ability adds that extra ability to make this card really strong in play. So let's move on to number 5. And at number 5 we have Lean Relic Warder from the Commander 2017 series, and it's an uncommon. I like the card. 2 for a 2/2, again, pretty standard for most cats. You pay for what you get. And the ability is, when it enters the battlefield, you may exile target artifact or enchantments. When it leaves the battlefield, return it back under play. So you're taking a chance when it does come back in play, and at that time, there's not many artifact or enchantments that would cost less than 2 that wouldn't bring it out. That's what the whole biggest debate is. That's why it's at number 5. It's very powerful, but at the same time, it's very weak. It can be easily destroyed, with anything. So let's move on to number 4, which we have Miri, the Cat Warrior. It's a legendary creature from the Tempered Remaster series, and it's a rare. Actually, the first thing that caught my eye was the card. I really like how the Cat Warrior is in the forest ready to hunt something. So it costs 3 for a 2/3, has first strike, forest walk, and vigilance. That's 3 abilities for 3 mana, which is very impressive. And just, again, like with most creatures like this, you can simply add giant growth or Shadow Spear or anything and make this card very more powerful if you want to play vintage or standard. And so let's move on to number 3. And at number 3 we have Marisa, Breaker of the Coil. It's from the Commander 2019 series, and it's a mythic rare. And the ability is, your opponents can't cast spells during combat, which I really like. Basically, it's anti-red, or blue, I suppose. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls in combat. Until your next turn, those creatures attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. So this is a very good multiplayer card. What's very hindering, I was really debating about putting this card in the top 10, or let alone third place. It costs 4 for a 5/4, which is pretty good itself, but you're playing 3 different colors. I think with the ability, you can really pull off some other stuff. So let's move on to number 2, which we have King of Pride. It's from Modern Masters and it's uncommon. You can quite plainly see the ability is other cats you control get +2/+1. Costs 3 mana for a 2/1, and you get to pop all your cats out. Because we're talking about cats, this is why it is number 2, and that's why it's kind of not number 1. It's because I was fighting debate, should I put this in or not, because you have to make, this is a perfect card if you're making a cat deck. It is one of the top cat cards. Again, if you're making a cat deck, I think 3 for a 2/1 and +2/+1 for all your cats is absolutely perfect. This is the card you want. It's the King of Pride. And the saying is, glorious to walk again across the savannah with my beloved. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. But there is one card out of all that beats them all. So let's move on to number 1. And at number 1, as you can see, it's very popular currently in the Magic Arena right now, is Ajana's Pridemate. It's a War of a Spark card, and it's uncommon. And look at that. It says, whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on the Pridemate. Costs 2 for a 2/2. Again, like I've said before, which is standard. You're paying for what you get for the power. But there's hundreds of cards in the Magic world that can give this guy +1/+1. That's why he's number 1. He's currently one of the most popular cards for white in Arena, Standard, everything. This is why he's number 1. And that's why you just want to keep pumping this guy up. You can make him, like, with Shadow Spear, he can be like a 10/10 by turn 5 easily. So I hope you guys enjoyed the top 10. And if you like this video, just feel free to watch more, and we'll continue to make more. Have a good day and a good evening.